Hey, today I'm talking about three of the most iconic 1940s films. And the names of those three movies are Casablanca, The Maltese Falcon, and The Philadelphia Story. First up is Casablanca. This is a 1942 film starring Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman, and it's great. If you are somehow unfamiliar with this film, the basic premise is during the beginning of World War II, Casablanca basically serves as like the last stop on the journey out of Europe, and Humphrey Bogart's character has a bar, cantina place there, and wouldn't you know it, one day an ex of his stops by and everything gets topsy-turvy. But yeah, this is great. This movie definitely lived up to the hype. I have seen it before, but it's been like 16 years and I really didn't remember it. Plus, like, I was probably like 15, 16 at the time, so like, I definitely didn't fully appreciate it then. It is a very beautiful and sad and complex love story, which I was just so blown away by, because like, I didn't expect such a nuanced relationship and like such nuanced moral dilemma for this time period. Like, it is just a really great experience to watch this film. And honestly, it doesn't feel like an old movie too much. Like, there's definitely a bit of dialogue that's a little old-timey, but it's pacing-wise, look-wise, it feels timeless. Humphrey Bogart gives a great performance, so does Ingrid Bergman. Like, really everyone does. Cinematography is great. It's a beautiful movie. It's really the story that got me. Like, it's a damn good love story, and I'm a sucker for a good love story, so yeah. I definitely would recommend this one. It is well worth a watch, even if you're hesitant about watching 80-year-old movies. You'll be able to handle this one. Next up is The Maltese Falcon. This is a 1941 film, again starring Humphrey Bogart, and again this movie is great. The basic premise of this one is that Humphrey Bogart plays a detective, a private eye, and one day a distressed woman comes to him, and so he investigates, and shenanigans ensue. And it's great. The atmosphere of this movie is just incredible, and it's such an interesting story and a well-told story and a well-acted story. If I was going to complain about anything, I would say I was a teensy bit lost with the mystery. I think it kind of came down to like scenes where they like just kind of said a lot of names. I'm just like, oh, I'm not sure if I remember who all these names are and what their context means and stuff like that. And then also like the kind of love story, like there's like just like a sliver of a love story in this movie, and I'm like, you didn't need to do this, don't do this, ignore that. Wholly unnecessary. Other than that though, it's great. It's a really good movie told well. Again, I would definitely recommend it. It's, you know, it's a very iconic movie, and it's an iconic movie for a reason. It's damn good. And lastly is The Philadelphia Story. This is a 1940 movie starring Katharine Hepburn, Jimmy Stewart, and Cary Grant. And the basic premise is Katharine Hepburn plays this high society type person, and Jimmy Stewart works for this celebrity gossip magazine, basically. And so they want to get the inside scoop on her very private wedding. And then Cary Grant's also there doing shenanigans. And it's pretty good. My sister recommended me this one very highly, mostly because I've been kind of on the fence whether or not I like Jimmy Stewart, because I watched some more of his later stuff and I wasn't the biggest fan of him, but here he's definitely terrific. He's, I don't know, interesting. I feel like he plays a bit different than the other films I've seen him in, and I like that a lot. And then also Katharine Hepburn's amazing. She is, first of all, just gorgeous. Like, look at that jawline. What? Ugh. Secondly, she's also incredibly talented. She's so incredibly talented. The story itself, I wasn't super duper into. Like, it was fine, it was entertaining, but I didn't connect to it as much as I hoped I would, especially because my sister did recommend it very, very highly. But don't get me wrong, I still put this in the quite liked, which is basically a 4 out of 5 for me. So I definitely did still enjoy it. It just didn't hit me in a deep personal way. Especially that ending. I wasn't huge into that ending, but whatever. It was alright. I do think part of the reason I didn't connect to it is because it feels the most old-timey compared to the other two movies. Like, they use a lot of words that I definitely didn't know. It's still pretty good though. So I would still recommend it, especially because like my sister did highly recommend it to me, so I'm kind of passing that along. I don't highly recommend it, but she would, so take that as you will. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got Casablanca sitting at number 1 in the really like section. And then literally right behind that is the Maltese Falcon sitting at number 2. Also in the really like section. And then bringing up the rear right behind is the Philadelphia Story sitting at number 3 in the quite like section. And this is out of a total of 3 old movies so far this year.